Alright guys, today we're going to go over the Resto Druid healing guide. Resto Druids are some of the best raid healers I've ever seen. They use different heal over time effects in order to slowly curve out what damage people usually take. They have some very strong healing cooldowns and a whole lot of utility. So I'm going to go over their artifact and how to use it, the talent choice that I picked, and some basic strategies on how to actually use this healer. Alrighty, Roo, let's get started. The Resto Druid's main artifact ability is Essence of Ganir. This is going to make your hots a lot more potent. That includes rejuvenation, regrowth, wild growth, tranquility I believe, and any other heal over times that you can possibly use. It is essentially another healing cooldown. I tend to use it though when combined with other effects such as tranquility or tree of life to get more bonus just bustage out of those effects. If your group or raid is taking a lot of damage, it can help slow and curve out the damage, making it a lot more manageable. It has a relatively short cooldown timer, so don't be afraid to use it on trash packs to help you out. My talent selections are as follows. I take Prosperity to get myself 2 charges of Swift Mend, and to pair with that, I take Renewal so I don't have to burn one of those charges of Swift Mend on myself. I take Balance Affinity so I can do a little bit of DPS. And as of right now, I take Typhoon just to get trash packs off me if I need to. Tree of Life will add another good healing cooldown for you in the game. And Germination will allow you to put 2 rejuves on the same target. This is really important to pair with your artifact ability. It allows it to tick twice as fast with twice as many rejuvenations. And finally, I take Stonebark to improve the mitigation I can provide to tank classes. So let's go over how you use some of these spells. The first one I'm going to go over is efflorescence. What it's going to do is it's going to put a little circle on the ground like so. That'll heal everybody standing inside the circle. You should pretty much have this down at all times along the biggest concentration of raid members or group members that you have. This all goes into that smoothing out damage thing, allowing your smaller, more nuke type heals, which you don't have as many of as some other healing classes, to be able to top people back up. Next, I'm going to go over Rejuvenation, or Rejuve. What it is a totally hot-based heal. It is instant cast. Now, when you take Germination like we did, you can cast 2 of them on a single target. Now, you'll pretty much want to have this rolling on tanks at all times. You could spot cast it amongst your DPS classes in case you need to smooth out the damage so you can get back to them in a minute. Keep in mind, even though you can cast 2 on a target, doesn't mean you need to cast 2 on a target. Especially in early itemization, you're going to want to conserve mana whenever you can, wherever possible. So if you only need to cast 1, just cast 1 to smooth out the damage. Okay, so next we have Regrowth. It shares some similarities to Rejuvenation with 2 main caveats. The first being it has a small mini nuke heal right on the front end of it. So if you need to get some instant healing done on somebody and want to put a hot on them, this is what you'll use. It is not very mana efficient, so it's not something you want to spam a whole lot of. It's kind of more of a oh crap heal. The second caveat is that you cannot germinate regrowth. Now on tanks I usually keep both rejuves, regrowth, and life bloom going, which I'll go over in a second. But on other classes you don't want to just spam regrowth on them unless you have to cast Tree of Life, which we'll also go over later. Next we have Life Bloom. Life Bloom is like a reverse regrowth. What it does is it'll put a heal over time on up front, and when it expires, it will, burst for some healing. You pretty much want to keep this on the tanks. It's not going to be very effective on a DPS class because the burst is going to hit later. So it's another thing you want to keep rolling on your tanks to keep them alive. Next we have Swift Mend. This is your oh shit heal. This is like the oh dear god, this guy's going to die if I don't heal him heal. You will cast this on anybody that is about to go down or to fill in large chunks of healing. This is when all of your hots are failing you and you need to get somebody topped up quickly. Now, because of the talents we took, you'll have 2 charges of it, but don't make that think that you can spam it just to, get somebody topped up like, hey, I'm healing, someone's topped up. You want to use it for an oh crap. If your hots are doing their work, let the hots do the work. Don't feel like you have to panic and use it. And the last basic healing ability I'm going to go over is Wild Growth. Now this is something I find myself using quite a lot. What it does is it'll actually spam a hot onto a few of your party members, unless you're in Tree of Life, in which case it'll do up to 6. I tend to keep this rolling pretty much at all times that I can as well. It's very mana efficient, surprisingly. So I can keep HOTS rolling on all DPS classes over time. That combined with efflorescence usually will keep DPS classes up and just give extra healing to tanks, which is fantastic. So let's summarize real quick. Your basic single target heals are your regrowth, rejuvenation, and life bloom and swift mend. You use those to heal single targets. Your AoE healing spells are going to be your wild growth and your efflorescence. You tend to want to keep life bloom on your tanks and HOTS rolling on tanks at all times. You want to spot hot everybody else. I tend to generally keep a rejuve up on everybody is what I usually end up doing. So what are your healing cooldowns? Well, the first one you're going to go over is Tree of Life. What Tree of Life does is it'll metamorph you into a big ol' honkin' tree. And what that big ol' honkin' tree does is three different things. The first thing it does is it makes your rejuvenations tick for a lot harder, increasing how much they do. Now that, because you have germination, will actually mean that your rejuves are going to be hitting very, very powerfully. The second one is that your regrowth is going to hit instantly. You don't have to cast time on regrowth. And the third and final thing it does is going to increase how many targets are hit by your wild growth. It makes it to where if you're having a lot of raid damage going out, I tend to pop Tree of Life so that I can kind of top everybody off. I can germinate everybody, I can regrowth a bunch of people, and I can also cast a really powerful wild growth. This pairs really well into your artifact ability, Essence of Ganir, allowing not only the heal over times to tick twice as fast, but they tick twice as fast and twice as hard. So it kind of is like a mini Tranquility, which I'm about to go over, making it a lot easier to keep a group, managed, especially if you're in a raid pairing with other healers. It can slow down the damage input not long enough for another raid cooldown to become available, or to recover in its own right. And finally, you're going to have Tranquility. This is the best AoE O-Crat pill I've ever seen in my life. What it does is, unless you have a specific artifact trait, you have to remain stationary while using this. It'll AoE heal just about everybody, and it heals really, really hard. Now, I mentioned a specific artifact trait because once you get to it, it'll hit harder and you can cast it while moving. But initially, you're only going to be able to cast it while stationary. So you want to be very careful of both your positioning and whether or not you're going to have to be moving soon in the first place. If you know the boss is going to make you move out of the way of a breath attack, for example, don't start casting Tranquility. It's going to do you no good. If you know a boss is going to stun you, same thing. Be very careful with your positioning when using this very powerful cooldown. I hope this was helpful to you guys. Please like and subscribe if it was. Leave me a comment. Peace out and have a great one.